So, hello everyone. It is Saturday, the 8th of May, and we have just finished day one of rehearsals for Eurovision 2021. And it's kind of crazy because we're all here. Like, how did the hell did that happen? Um, yeah, so day one, it's been a really overwhelming experience, but I think it's safe to say that for everyone, we've just had a fantastic day, haven't we?
I sort of
Absolutely.
had I
Oh,
sort of had this moment earlier when I was thinking back to when I was about 11 and I was desperate to be a journalist and I used to like make shit newspapers when I was at school. And now I'm here and it's ridiculous and I'm absolutely loving every minute of it.
mm.
Na 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 na
Oh no no no.
na.
I think for me, like this was probably there's been a lot of moments this year where it's like, oh, Eurovision is back, like when Festival Ikangas happened, when we had all 39 songs, but this was kind of the moment when I realized Eurovision is happening this year. It is back, it is happening, the final will be in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks we will have a winner. Like it's just so exciting, and it's definitely really exciting because this is like our first time doing any press work for Eurovision, so that's also really exciting. And yeah, it's been a really, really good day. I'm tired, but it's a good tired.
Yeah, I think it's like at least from like our perspective, like if you're watching this, you'll know that we are a very small site. We're only just sort of getting off the ground, so it just feels great to think that this is even happening. And I'm just like, oh, like it kind of hit me um, during Leslie's last rehearsal that oh my god, that this is actually happening. We are actually like doing this, and it's just crazy. I just love it. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is that we're basically just going to kind of go through our highlights and our lowlights of the day. So who wants to kick us off with like who do you think was sort of your highlight for the day?
I feel like mine is quite an easy one. Manesia absolutely nailed it. And I was so impressed by everything that she brought to the stage. She took the message of Russian women and really translated it into something that is both incredibly creative and also very clear on what sort of messages it's trying to bring. The whole theatricality of it was just amazing. And I admit I have been worrying about her qualification chances, and I am much less worried about them now, I'll say that.
Um, I have to agree with Rosie. My highlight of the day was also Manesia. I just think her rehearsal was so polished, so good, so impactful, so powerful, and she gets her message across in such a powerful way. It doesn't matter that most of the song is in Russian. Even if you don't understand Russian, you know that she is getting that message of woman empowerment out there, and that's just amazing. She's an amazing performer. I would before I was one of these people that wasn't that worried about her qualification chances. I thought that she was an easy qualifier. I think that she could potentially come top 10 now. I think the televote will love this, and I can't wait to see how well she does it. She does come like the semi-final and the final because she absolutely deserves it. She's nailed it. She's nailed it in my book.
I'm very interested to see how it's going to play out. My favorite as well of the day is Manesia. I was really worried about this going into it because it sounded like they had a lot of good ideas, but then the first thing that I saw was literally just Manesia in this massive coat thing that was just driving around the stage. I was just wondering, it's like, is this some kind of like really weird like Matryoshka doll, or is it some kind of thing, or is it like a Mario Kart kind of thing? Who knows? But I have really, really liked it, and I think the fact that they've kind of included the like the little bits in the background, just being like, be yourself, be grateful, be honest, be thankful, all of these kind of things. You're strong. Like this is just phenomenal. I think it's phenomenal. I definitely see people voting for this. I don't see um, like this tanking in the televote at all. I think it'll be easily one of the top 10 because of how kooky it is. Yeah, I'm just really looking forward to seeing how people are going to respond to it on the night. Yeah, I love it. So obviously as well, not everyone was going to be our favorite. So is there a low point for you today, or do you think that they were all kind of all right? Or
No one was bad. Like nobody came and completely flopped. I think the one that I'm possibly slightly disappointed about is Vasil, because that's a song that really sells itself on Vasil being an amazing singer. And he is, and he was fantastic in the rehearsal. But I found that instead of really playing up to that, his staging just had too many ideas and was a bit too cluttered. So you've got the overlay, you've got the bulletproof shirt, you've got the background visuals, you've got the LEDs, you've got everything going on, and it doesn't quite work together cohesively for me. And I like a lot of these things individually. There's the little bit sort of at the beginning of the song where you've got that really static camera shot on him, and then you start to see that light sort of grow where his heart is, and it sort of spreads out. And I thought that was just beautiful. I thought that was so beautifully done. And then it sort of just stops, and then it goes into something else, and then it goes into something else, and then it goes into something else. And I think there needs to be more of a story to what he's trying to do, because otherwise it's just sort of a load of different bits of staging rather than a cohesive performance that showcases what Vasil can do with his voice.
I don't really have a particular low light moment of the day. I feel like everybody like brought their best, and vocally I feel like everybody was on point, and staging wise, like I like Vassal's stage, and I thought it was quite emotional and quite impactful, and I thought it brought more to the song than what there initially was. If I had to say my least favorite song performance of the day, I'd maybe have to go Slovenia's Anna Sukwitch, just because the song itself isn't really for me. But she still sold it. She was vocally stellar and she was on point. And the staging does work really well with the song. So it's not really a low point. It's just my least favorite. But nearly everybody was my favorite today because I feel like everybody did well. So I really struggled with this one.
yeah, I think they've all done really really well for what they did, but I kind of have to somewhat agree with Rosie here in saying that like North Macedonia's one was nice and it was very sleek, but there was a lot of like elements to it. Because I did feel that I could kind of see where he was going with the sort of mirror ball vest thing. Just because obviously like he's showing off himself, he's being himself, and for those of you who don't know, Vasil has actually only just recently come out. He's one of the first kind of like Macedonian people to actually come out as being gay. So I think part of it is also being sort of revealing his true self, really. Um, I will say though that the other one that did kind of cause a little bit of concern for me was Ireland, Leslie Roy. I think again they had a very interesting, cohesive storyboard, but implementing it onto a big stage, it felt a little bit messy. Um, as in, you couldn't almost see like what was going on in certain points and what was happening, and like when there was a square, and then all of a sudden there was a circle, and then all of a sudden there's these waves, and all of it is paper, and then you can literally see people's fingers literally like running through reams of paper as well. It was a little bit. There was a lot going on, but we just didn't really know what the situation was. I do think though we only did get to see one rehearsal from Leslie, unfortunately. I think partly due to technical errors or something like that. But in the one that we saw, I liked what they were trying to do, but then in practice, I feel like it needs a little bit more work. Potentially, I think as well they were having technical issues with Leslie's in ears because there were some moments where she was sounding a little bit off key. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm being a little bit too harsh on this just because I'm Irish, but I want them to do well, and this is such a beautiful song as well. It deserves this moment for it to do really well, and I'm just not entirely sure if they've sold me on that yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see till the second rehearsal.
I think, although I just wanted to say, this is a first rehearsal. This is the chance to like iron out the kinks. If there's technical issues, there's mistakes. This is the time to iron it out. So I don't know if we can be as harsh on their first rehearsals now, but I think we should look at their second rehearsals and then maybe come back and judge.
Probably.
I also think the other thing with Ireland's performance is that it's probably the one that was hurt the most by having a giant "it is prohibited to film anything" written across the screen while we were viewing, because that's what you get when you are viewing the rehearsals in the press centre. And because so much of it is to do with camera work and perception and visual effects and things like that. And it is filmed in a way that's completely different to any of the other entries this year. So I feel like that also probably hurt it. And I think sort of once all of these problems are sort of ironed out, I think I have hope. I definitely have hope.
Yeah.
And I was shitting myself going into that rehearsal because I was so desperate for it to be good.
I think overall it did work out pretty well. I think it's just me being maybe a little bit too like cautious over it. It's like, I just want you to do well. But yeah, so just as like one kind of like final thing for day one, what was your kind of favorite moment throughout the whole day?
Mine is pretty easy, and it's quite a funny moment actually. It was during the Swedish press conference where Tusa was just like, I get out. I'm doing Eurovision to just get out of doing my homework, and I'm like, Tusa, you are such a mood. You are so relatable. We all do stuff to get out of doing stuff we don't want to do, but Tusa is doing the best thing he can by representing his country at Eurovision. I love him. I loved his press conference. I love him, and I can't wait for his second one. I think he is an amazing human being.
Yeah, that was a great moment. I think for me, it's a really small moment, but it's one of those sorts of things that I just feel so privileged to have not even seen. I think we only heard it. But it was while the group were rehearsing, and there was I think it was in a break between the second and the third rehearsal, and you just heard Vaidotas singing, "You are so beautiful to me" on stage. And I just loved that. It's just one of those really tiny little things that just put a huge smile on my face. And yeah, it just made me happy.
It is a very lovely moment, and that was the first rehearsal that we'd seen as well, so it was just like, oh, this is just what happens all the time. So I guess it was setting the scene for a really good day. My favorite moment, I guess it's not so much like a moment per se. It was literally just the fact that so for Australia's rehearsals, obviously because Montaigne is not actually in Rotterdam, therefore she can't really rehearse. So we just kind of got like behind the scenes footage of what was going to be happening in the live tape. And we saw it, and it was only like 30 seconds or something. And then that was it. We weren't going to get anything else. We weren't going to get like any other kind of like interviews with her, or we weren't going to have anything like that. It was literally just 90 seconds. And then it's like, okay, let's move on to the next one. But the problem was obviously because they had slotted in 30 minutes for Australia, basically it just meant that we just had to wait around for about 25 minutes just doing absolutely nothing. And I don't know, I just thought that was a really funny moment. I was like, these are the times that we live in, and that's just what we're doing. So I just really liked it. But yeah, so like one kind of final thing. So we're looking ahead to tomorrow, day two. So it's the second half of the first semi-final. Who are you mostly excited for? Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I think for me it's pretty easy, and if you've been following me this whole ride, it's Alina and Tix who are up first during the day because they are both in my top 5. So yeah, it has to be them. But I'm also really looking forward to Go A and Destiny because they are also in my top 10, and obviously Destiny is one of the big favorites to win Eurovision. So Really want to see what she has brought to her stage, and to see if her staging is winner worthy, and whether we will know tomorrow if she's going to do it or not.
I think there's also two for me. Go A. Interestingly, there was a very small leaked snippet of what we think is their live on tape performance yesterday, I think it was. And it looked so good. It looked amazing. And if they do anything like that on stage, I am going to be so excited. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how they capture the sort of strange and powerful energy that Shum has and translate it to the stage in Rotterdam. Also, the other one I'm quite interested in is probably Belgium, actually. I think The Wrong Place is such an atmospheric song, and I think the staging is sort of what will make it live or die. So I will be really, really interested to see what they do with that.
I guess Rosie has kind of just taken the words right out of my mouth, really. Belgium and Ukraine are my number 2 and number 3, respectively. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to happen, how they're going to play out. I'm also kind of looking forward a little bit to see what Israel is doing as well, and Romania, just because Israel has been kind of hyped up recently, of course, because of like the high notes that she can do essentially, and Romania, we've not actually heard anything from Roxanne. We've not heard like live performance yet. We've not heard anything about the staging, so it's really like an open book as to like what can happen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like what interesting elements they have. Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's just mental to think that, this is actually happening now. We're actually getting Eurovision. It's amazing. Oh, lovely. Yeah, so that kind of takes us to the end of this recap. So, we'll be hopefully doing these every day. Fingers crossed if there's no technical glitches. No, I'm pretty sure it'll be really good. So yeah, keep following us here. After all of the rehearsals, we'll have like a nice little recap at the end of the day. And yeah, please follow us on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at That Euro Site. We are also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everything there, and YouTube as well. So please subscribe, like, do whatever you gotta do. And yeah, follow us as well at thateurovisionsite.com. Just so we have articles that are coming out all the time. We've actually just released our interview with John's Tears today as well, so check it over there. And yeah, we might as well just like get prepared to have our minds blown tomorrow, because I think we're in for a treat. I think so. But yeah, shall we all say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.